I said. So yeah. So good question. We'll just start with a question this evening, and it will be to you, Toby, which is, what will your response be if you have fire on board and then you are carrying dangerous good class one close
First,
to an oil installation?
uh, close to an oil installation, class 1 dangerous goods, and there's fire on board. I don't know. I want to be sure maybe the fire is on the deck or anywhere on part of the ship.
So the first thing I want everybody to understand is you have to first start answering is like it's really an exam. You understand? So these questions that you're asking are valid, but what I'm looking for is, first of all, what will be your actions? So when we're dealing with emergencies, what's the first action? Fire on board.
Raise an alarm first,
Thank you.
and then proceed to maybe muster station. Then afterwards, duties of everybody. Everybody will proceed to carry out their duties on board in case of fire incident.
That's a valuable one, but it's a bit sketchy as well. Are you seeing my screen?
Okay, raise an alarm, muster all crew, and
Yeah,
check.
you said there is alarm, and that's one critical point I've noted in every emergencies that we have dealt with. In any emergency, it's really a priority that you prioritize raising the alarm. You must raise the alarm. You shouldn't just neglect that till the last minute. It's a failure on that particular question if that is overlooked. So please, yes, like you rightly said, we will have to raise the alarm. Then secondly, instead of you proceeding to the muster station, it is very, very, very important. I repeat, very, very important that you should state, and not only you should state, even in an emergency situation, as a crew, you are responsible for some emergency duties. And your emergency duties, and I'm speaking as a senior officer, yeah, I'm speaking to you I'm asking you as a senior officer, and I'm requiring you to respond to me as a senior officer, which is you're responsible in mustering all crew passengers to the muster station, and you check for missing and injured personnel. From your answer, Toby, you gave you will proceed down to the muster station, which means you are only just portraying that you are responsible only for yourself, which is not required. So first thing first, we've raised the alarm. Second is to muster all crew, and then very importantly, mustering all crew alone is not enough for checking for missing or injured personnel. Is that understood?
That's correct, sir. Understood.
Very good. Now continue. What's going to be the next one? Remember, this is the slide here is a generic answer on dangerous good. So we'll have to tie it down to the scenario which I've put down there. Fire on board DG class 1. So if you're in the class, please try and start checking what DG class 1 is. Toby, what will be the next one after we have raised an alarm and we have muster crew and passengers?
Okay, next is to send a distress or a message to nearby vessels around, or
Okay.
the oil installation platform, like you said earlier, that we have an emergency, we have a fire emergency on board.
Yeah, which is to send a distress urgency if it's a very minimal one, but if it's a mayday, if it's a distress one, we send a mayday message to vessels in vicinity, and of course, like MCA, we're dealing with like Coast Guard and stuff. Um, that is also very, very important. Why do you think that's important?
So that everybody can come for rescue, or tighten up their own side also, maybe on their fire pumps and other things to assist in not ensuring that this fire does not spread more than expected.
Yeah, thanks. November for your welcome. And Charlie, I think I saw you in my one talk. Yeah, you've just rightly said it. But more so, it's just to also stop the spread of the damage to other vessels and yeah, to other vessels around, as well as also um requesting help from other vessels too, and especially from Coast Guard too as well. Now, the next one, what will be your next action? And
Next action. Okay.
NA, you prepare, you give us the further actions after this.
Next action is to close all flaps, all watertight doors, get into the accommodation, all fire flaps, and all machineries that could aid or increase this fire.
Yeah, that's true. Like you said, this is more of the same as treating a fire emergency, and just like what treating the fire emergency, the same procedure applies here. But the only thing that will need to be tweaked is the presence of now a dangerous good on board. So if you can look at from the whole scenario, I mean, from the answers there, it's still more of like um a fire incident. But moving to the second slide, you'll see that, yeah, there are other things that need to be done considering the presence of this class one. So shutting off your vent, fire flaps, and fan connected to the area is more of shutting the ventilation, and it's more of stopping the spread of this fire down to other parts of the vessels too as well. I've also put all crew must be mustered at a location upwind of the incident. What do you understand by that? Why should we do that?
All crew must be mustered at the location upwind of the incident. It means that this, for my own reasoning, I think this upwind is, should I say, a layman terms now, like a place that is not in favor of the fire. Maybe is it a leadway or I don't know, but I presume that it's somewhere that is safer on board.
Yeah, NEMA, sorry, November offer. Why do we need to be looking at a location such as the open side of the incident? I think November offer likes to drop charts. Yeah, while he's answering that, the reason for that is especially when we're dealing with one fire, when we're dealing with dangerous incidents, you don't want to be caught up where the wind is now making it even more toxic to you, and especially where the wind is even blowing this same hazard and fire towards you and towards your crew. And the reason why this is very important is because a muster station can just be located where it will it will be in the presence of both you dealing with wind coming, I mean, bringing both the fire or the flames, or even it might be different kind of dangerous goods that we're dealing with and just blowing it, and you are just endangering the lives of passenger and crew as well. That's why looking at a suitable muster station clear of the danger is really very essential when you're also mustering the crew there too as well. Now, the last one would be commence logging of all series of events. And like I said, this might look minute, but it is really very, very important because I've had a couple of guys who have failed their emergency questions because of logging of events. So the logging of events, the reasons why we need to log events, like I rightly said, it's for one, accident and incident investigation. Two, to be able to provide proper evidence even after the incidents. And three, it just helps us in logging and knowing what has been done and what has not been done. However, like I said, it's still very, very important for the examiners, any examiners you're dealing with, to let them know that you log in all series of events too, as well. Now, moving on to further actions. Make an initial report. And when I put the community there, I'm also, like I told you, it's more of you being alongside your platform, your companies as well, your charterers, who are the stakeholders. It's more of an initial actions that will be carried, initial report, sorry, that will need to be carried out and will be sent to them. So that initial report will need to be made. But at this point, you already know what has been done. I mean, and then you started already putting in some logs, and from this log, you can be able to make an initial report. Display your NUC signals, and then you just start your fire pumps on standby. Like I told you, it's fire on the deck, or even if it's any dangerous goods as well, especially looking at the dangerous goods that we're dealing with too. So is there any other immediate action that we will need to carry out apart from this?
So I think you've touched all that I can think of now at the moment. I think you've touched all.
To be honest, I've not touched all. I purposely left out one. What can that one be?
Oh. Just a moment, let me read through again and see if I can come up with it.
Yeah, anyway, you can let me know. There's one I left out. Just a clue. You'll find it in the collision regulations. It's in line with collision regulations as well. Okay, I'll pop in here. Can anybody see the second to the last one there? Display NUC signals.
Yes, that's correct now, not under command signals.
Okay, display not under command signals. Restricted visibility, what are we going to be doing?
Restricted visibility?
Yeah. What are you going to be required to do? To commence the sounding of fog signals. Is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
To commence the sounding of fog signals. So this is display, and or in case there's depends on the visibility. You have to commence the sounding of fog signals to show or to let other vessels know immediately that your vessel is not under command as well. Now let's move on to the next one, which will be the assessment and investigative actions. And like I was saying in my emergency classes, the earlier you are able to prioritize your actions, the earlier you are able to group them group them properly, you will find out that you will not miss the critical ones that you are meant to give up, because some rush through the answers and I will inform the charterers before sounding the alarm and all those stuff like that. And that's why I've tried to just a recap from my emergency classes is, if you are dealing with an emergency, first thing you should come to your mind, even not just in an exam table, but even in a real life scenario, the first thing you should know is what should be my immediate action. What am I to do now, right now? And that's why I then group it as immediate actions. Usually you shouldn't, you shouldn't go down and take assessments or contingency or informing action before carrying out an immediate action. Immediate action are what needs to be done immediately. However, all other actions should not be done with delay. They should be done as quick as possible, for all these other actions. So it's not like, oh, I've done the immediate actions and let everybody go and rest. Even the situation itself in real life scenario will not allow you to rest. So after the immediate action, then we come down to an assessment and investigative action. And these actions, like I rightly said in my previous classes, are actions that will make you know the right decision to take at the right time. Will make you know where exactly we are going to, especially if you're fighting a fire, if you are, if there is grounding, if there is collision, if there is man overboard, where did the person fall? It's not like we'll just start preparing and then just throwing the life buoy all over the vessels. So coming down to assessment and investigative action for this particular scenario, first thing we need to do is confirm the vessel's position. Considering if you are out there in Nigeria on airports, if you are in the channel, the traffic density, you need to know what's going on. In every weather, if you might be out there at sea and you might just be welcoming a tropical revolving storm, a TRS, you might even be close to shore or closeness to dangerous areas, which in this case, it might be an oil platform. And the first thing you want to try and do is to try and maneuver away to, if possible, from to avoid further dangers. The second one, in this case, is now the dangerous good itself. What dangerous goods are involved? Now, question, what is the class one DG good? Toby, are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm here, sir.
Yeah, DG class one, what's it?
Explosive, sir.
Thank you. Explosive. So you can imagine carrying explosives on board, and then there's fire on board. You can imagine it's really very, very, very dangerous as well. But the EMS guide will guide you on exactly what to be required to do, even as you are carrying out other actions too, especially, and what specifically are you to do with this particular product. So a quick investigate, which dangerous goods am I carrying? Am I carrying explosive? Am I carrying flammable liquid? Am I carrying toxic gases? Am I carrying corrosive? Am I carrying radioactive, oxidizing agents, or whichever? But this one is the severity of the damage this one will cause here is really very, very high. And that's when we need to know, oh, we need to pay very good attention to this too as well. And that's when I put a quick consultation with the EMS associated with that cargo to determine action in the case of, like in this particular case, we'll be dealing with fire. And you should start acting accordingly as well. And the DG, the IMDG code, looking at the supplements, we give you guidelines on what exactly to do in case of spillage, in case of fire, or in case of in case of spillage, in case of fire, or in case the cargo is overboard. So that is exactly where we should go and have a quick consultation too as well. The first aid equipment must be ready in place. And not all dangerous goods can be directly accessed when there is any emergency. So there should be a quick risk assessment, whether it's safe for crew to enter the affected area. Then you have to determine any leakage to the dangerous good and isolate. Most importantly, you determine the source also. And determining the source also, we will need to isolate that too as well. Now, after all this, after you've been able to access, like I said, first and foremost, we be able to access the vessel's position and looking at the traffic density, like I said, the heavy weather, proximity to shore, closeness to, any dangerous areas or derelicts. And we've been able to investigate which cargo, and we've been able to consult what to do. The next thing we should start doing now is how do we tackle it? And that's when I come down to the contingency action, which will be firefight and control. And if it was a spillage, we'll go according to the EMS guide. We shouldn't take laws into our hands. No, these guidelines are there for us as well. And like I said before, the crew can only be sent if it allows it. You shouldn't send a crew down there if it's really dangerous. But if you are sending, make sure watertight. You close the watertight compartment. Then you secure the cargo using all available means, and this is for safety reasons. Then you determine the leakage of the dangerous goods. That's, like I said, if it's a leakage. But in this case here, we are dealing with an explosive. Now, the next one will be to consider jettisoning of the cargo. And this is one of the things that, skippers are really when I mean skippers, I mean masters, they are really keen on doing when it comes to dangerous goods incidents. But this is only when it's allowed, only when you've been able to check with the EMS as well, but also, of course, the captain has overriding authority when it comes to the safety of the vessel. And so they can consider jettisoning the cargo, like I said, if the situation is out of control. And if for any reason, after they've been able to calm the situation down using the firefighting procedures, you consider if your voyage can safely resume, and you proceed to the nearest port of refuge. The question from an oral note that I found here. Toby, I will just come back to you. If you have been able to extinguish the fire, and your voyage can safely resume. When I mean safely resume, I mean all your machineries are in order, there is no major damage to the hull of the vessel. Will you proceed to your destination, or you proceed to your port of refuge?
I think proceeding to a port of refuge is advisable if I'm to be in charge, because at this point, you probably the crew has to, maybe their state of mind or something, or there's a need for us to get more fighting equipment, maybe fire institutions that we exhausted and other things like that.
Yeah, your points are really valid. Thanks. I'll pick on the second one, which is replenishing the fire extinguishing equipment, and that's your major answer. Actually, apart from that, the critical one is the safety of the vessel, because you might be on board and it's just very easy for you to quickly assume that the vessel is still seaworthy, whereas there might be some underlying factors that might just be cropping up bit by bit, and will make the voyage unsuccessful. So the best thing you want to do is do not assume that your vessel is safe. Do not assume that your vessel is all intact. You are not to proceed, especially when you have a major incident like that. If it's a minor incident, that can be fine after after a thorough risk assessment. Forgive me, but on a major incidents like this, please, no matter the commercial pressure, you are to put safety first and proceed to your nearest port of refuge. Even before your nearest port of refuge as well, looking at the severity of it all, you might even consider proceeding to anchorage if there is a nearby anchor around you. Lastly, require additional assistance. Require additional assistance from, like I said, from vessels around you, from salvage companies, from the Coast Guard, as well as even from the platform that might be close to you as well. So yeah, that's majorly the contingency. So when I'm speaking about the firefight and control, then that will refer me to my lesson on emergency firefighting. So emergency firefighting takes a whole lot of another lecture. So if you want to grab on that, it's still on, it's on YouTube there, it's on the page there on answering firefighting emergency control. So it's not like it's just that simple, but the context I'm trying to bring out here is, if there is a presence of DG on board, what exactly are you going to do? Because I've got some questions on that from orals, and especially from the last two class, someone asked that question too as well. So everything will still remain normal. The firefighting control must be well dealt with, but however, you need to pay due diligence to the IMDG code as well. Now, informing is always the easiest part of answering any emergency question, which is informing the owners, informing the chapters, the P&I, classification society, the flag, and of course, the MEIB, and declaring general average. I think I've done a lesson on general average. Is it 2020? Or I might just pick on it again and do another lecture if so that I can bring guys to remember what general average is too as well. But yeah, informing the owners, informing the charterers, informing the P&I, flag, MEIB, and for the masters, you liaise with the classification societies and the general average too as well. So with that, it has been quite an interesting class on the IMDG. From the introduction even down to now as well. I just hope we are all able to understand it. But like I said, please let's try and open that IMDG book and just pick out one DG and try and find out everything about the DG, and especially when it's incidents. When it's incidents, we are not looking at the volume 1, we are not looking at the volume 2, but what we'll be looking at is the IMDG supplement copy. If anybody got any question, so ask. Okay, I think that should be it, except the Captain Tayo wants to add anything.
No, boss. Thanks so much for your time. I appreciate it, actually.
All right, thank you. All right, thanks everyone. I'll be going back to go continue and check on. I'm praying for the guys having their COCs, but we just hope it's going to be a success. Next week we'll be starting another series of class. This one was supposed to end it with an orals class Q&A, but since we're having exams already, there's no need to bombarding ourselves with exams right now. But next week we'll be starting another one, which will be what is squat and what is interaction. Squat, interaction, banking, effects. It will all be a series of class, but it will be more maneuvering. So let's be prepared, and you can bring your questions in too as well. All right, thanks everyone. Thanks Emmanuel. I saw CC before. NA Olatobi. Thanks Bishop.
Thank you too. Have a nice time. Bye.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, a lot of it with squats, interaction, banking effects. Yeah, I think next week I'll start with squats. You can read up on it, and you just see how we do it. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
All right, then. Thanks. And that's the question for OW and treatment. So it's really very important. All right, then. Bye bye, everyone. Yeah.
All right. Good night, sir.
Night.
Okay, thank you.